Dare I ask? How we doing?
Not good, Bob.
Whoa.
I'm probably going to get to watch a lot of SEC, ACC, and Big 12 football because, my Saturdays for the fall have remained clear.
The good news is we may not be able to watch college football in Columbus, but we can watch a Pee-wee, JV, varsity, Pop Warner, everything else, NFL, but no college in Columbus.
Where does University of Cincinnati fit on there? Are you calling them Pee-wee or JV?
JV-ish.
Those checklists are out there on Twitter. Check, green checks on down the line. A lot of football teams, a lot of football leagues playing. Oh, no Ohio State football. Pennsylvania and Ohio. So we know what the decision was originally. We know what the backlash has been. Now, certainly in the Big Ten and specifically at Ohio State, probably more than any other program, there's been an organized backlash to say we demand answers, we demand reconsideration, we demand transparency. Steve, we'll start with you just in regards to what you see and the probabilities of this thing getting turned around. It would be a huge PR nightmare, or it already is a big, huge PR nightmare. But a lot of people don't like to look bad in terms of, we made a wrong decision. One of the fallacies of a lot of leadership out there in regards to, hey, can't we just say we screwed up and we're going to give this a go now? But Steve, your thoughts about where we stand on all this?
Yeah, there's been a lot of reporting and a lot of information and misinformation, I guess, that's kind of come and gone here this week about people possibly working behind the scenes to get 5 or 6 of the 14 Big Ten schools together to play in the fall, in regardless of what the commissioner laid out last week, that it would be quote unquote postponed. And so things were coming to a head. You had the parents of 5 of the schools sending letters. Randy Wade, the father of Sean Wade, promising to lead a parent march on the Big Ten headquarters on Friday morning at 8 a.m. Central Time. And you could just kind of see that things were starting to come to a head. There'd been reports out there that Gene Smith was working behind the scenes to still get a fall season of some sort. And I just think that finally Kevin Moran, came out from his hole that he's been in for 8 days and finally decided, I need to address this, and I need every one of you, Gene Smith, and everyone else to address this as well and clarify our position, which is that there was a vote and it was overwhelmingly in support of postponing the fall season. And that's where we're going to go as a group, 14 strong. And Gene Smith seemed to kind of back that as well. He had refuted the Jeff Snook report that he'd been working behind the scenes in a conversation with Clay Hall, a television reporter here in Columbus, either by text or I presume it was by text. He refuted the report that he'd been working behind the scenes. What's unclear is whether he actually was working behind the scenes, and by that point it had been completely put to bed for the last time that it wasn't going to happen. I guess we don't know, and I'm sure somebody will get the Mel or somebody is going to get to the bottom of this at some point and publish all the news that's not fit to print. But as it stands right now, no fall football for the Big Ten, and they are hoping to stage something in the winter. But again, first of all, do we know that the climate will be better in January, February than it is now in terms of COVID? No mention about myocarditis, I don't think, in his letter, by the way. So was that a big factor or not? I don't recall reading it in his letter. Maybe I'll have to go back through it. It kind of gave me a headache as I got to about the fourth needless bullet point. is this really like a JV like exhibition showcase season, or is this going to be real college football? Because what are they playing for? We don't even know that the Pac-12 can stage this with Los Angeles such a hot spot. We don't even know if the Pac-12 in Seattle and Portland as well, the disaster that they're in, can they even stage this? Will there be a Pac-12 champion at the end to play in a pie in the sky Rose Bowl on April 15 on tax day? I mean, Jesus criminy. I don't know. I'm so disgusted by the whole thing. And they took 130 years of tradition and flushed it straight down the toilet. And, maybe I'm taking a hard line against what they've done here. But, if the ACC and the SEC and the Big 12 pull this off, declare a national champion, give Sunshine the Heisman Trophy that should have had Justin Fields' name written on it. What can you say? I mean, they've ruined all of our adult lives, I think. I don't know. Is that too much to say?
We'll take it, Steve. A lot of people feel the same way, and it was nice and clean. So a lot of people wouldn't have been so eloquent. So, Kevin,
thank you.
You've got the floor. Maybe Kevin will be one of them.
I went to Twitter a couple minutes ago and said it was even money that I would say naughty words. I'm going to do my best not to, but it really just shows a lack of leadership in the Big Ten. This letter that they put out 8 days after the fact could have, would have, should have accompanied anything that came out. Kevin Warren had every opportunity to answer the questions that Dave Revson asked him on the Big Ten's show. We go through all this time. We get a regurgitated piece of crap letter that has half of the stuff that was just taken from the Pac-12 note. There's no real direction in there other than, no, you're wrong. We had a vote. It was strongly, overwhelmingly in favor of this. It seriously, I feel stupider after reading the letter, and I feel stupider after having any faith in the Big Ten trying to solve this. You would have figured with all the time that they put in going radio silent at this point, Kevin Warren sitting in front of his wall of Warren, which probably isn't even at the Big Ten offices. So Randy Wade is going to be, with the other parents, is going to be protesting in front of the secretary, and I'll be there to watch it, of course, because that's what I do. It's ridiculous. It's mind-numbing, the lack of leadership that has gone on at this point. It has been a pass the buck type of situation. Nobody wants their fingers on the hot potato. Oh, it's Warren. Oh, it's the presidents and the chancellors. Oh, it's the ADs. Everybody is complicit in this at this point. There are certain people that I do believe through this process that were fighting for, we're not even saying fighting to play football immediately. Let's just play the first week, September 3rd, Ohio State at Illinois. Let's kick the can down the road for a couple of weeks and see what's happening. Let's figure out what's happening here. There's a lot of conflicting information on this heart swelling situation. You have doctors at Michigan and other places, a very renowned doctor in Tel Aviv who said that the study that was being used was severely flawed. But it just really feels to me that Kevin Warren and a certain group of presidents and chancellors that aren't that committed to football and probably don't have much of a football product to present had made up their mind a long time ago. And in a real disappointing move, I want the other Power 5 leagues to play, because I want the Big Ten to have to wear this. I want them to have to own this. I want them to have this out there forever, for there to be this bogus 3-conference champion. So we use this as a cautionary tale to see what a joke Kevin Warren is.
I support Kevin Warren and everything he's done. Next question. Now, it is interesting that so many of the letters from the parents were asking for a reply by August 19th. Today being August 19th, and he finally drops a reply. And as Kevin or Steve said, that was the same reply he could have given the day that the decision was made. And we've waited 8 days for anything. And so we finally get something. What is interesting to me is the way the Big Ten is seemingly, and I don't know if the rest of the teams in the Big Ten have done this. I assume they will be or have been, but the circling of the wagons immediately after Kevin Warren releases his statement, Gene Smith releases his statement, and I'm wondering if in these meetings there was this come to Jesus where it's like, we are the Big Ten. We are renowned for being in line with each other. We need to get back to that immediately. And so you see Gene Smith come out and his statement thanking all of the fans for everything, but that, we're going to pursue winter football. The president of OSU saying that there may be still some fall sports by the end of the fall, but I still go back to the NCAA's chief medical officer, 2 months ago, saying it makes no sense to move football out of the fall because you don't know any more about what January, February, March, April, May is going to look like than you do now. And right now you are prepared for now. And as Gene Smith said in his statement, we could play immediately. We could hold competitions immediately because they believe they have done everything they need to do to keep people safe and to have an environment that would succeed in this mess that we have now. And so it was interesting to me that, yes, we're not going to pursue any more fall football. I believe it is the fourth time Gene Smith has had to say this in the span of a week. So maybe tomorrow he'll say it for a fifth time. No fall football. And they're pursuing winter football. But it was interesting to me, at least, that he said, but we could if we wanted. Like, if we were able to, we totally could. And it's kind of like, well, you are able to. You're just not going to because of all of the millions of reasons that living with the Big Ten has brought you. But all in all, I'm with everybody else. I wonder what Buckeye fans feel like. Do they want all of the other programs to be shut down in terms of the other conferences so that there's no football and Ohio State doesn't fall behind? Or us all being college football people, do you still want you got to want college football, right? So you have something to watch. Do you want college football more than you want to see Ohio State on the sideline? I still, as I said last show, I don't think Ohio State will fall off the face of the earth for this. But I do wonder how badly, where is that poll? And I'll probably put that out on Twitter. Like, where are they? Do they not want any football, or do they want football because you don't want to go an entire year without college football?
Okay, there is. Yeah, so are they actually even calling it a winter season? Has that been the transformation of terms because it's been backed up into December and then a January football schedule?
The latest rumor that I've heard, and God knows we've all been, well, I haven't, but a lot of people have been following somebody named Boat Boy or Sir Yacht or some crap like that on Twitter, and all the rumors, and he went down with the ship, and I guess that's what I'll go down with. Is that I've heard the season will be 8 games, starts the first week of January. You'll play 8 games in 9 weeks within 3 dome stadiums. There will be multiple games per venue as it goes on, and then it would lead into potentially a bowl game or bowl games plural. I think the hope would be the Pac-12 doing something in unison leading to a Rose Bowl. But again, that's what I've heard. Can't really corroborate it. Gene Smith is already having to deal with talking about other rumors out there. I haven't really gone to him about it, but that seems to be the one. But then you read the letter that goes out today, and they're working on their task force with Ted McGinley and Miss Betty Childs from Revenge of the Nerds trying to figure this thing out. So I don't know, but I do think that the only way you're going to make this work is you have to go in January, kind of the Ryan Day plan versus the Jeff Brom plan at Purdue, which was going pretty much like the last weekend of February. I think that's the only way that you're not going to impact the 2021 season too severely is if you get this done and you get some more separation where these athletes are able to have a little bit of time to recoup.
Well, I'll throw in, Kevin talked about the march on Rosemont on Friday and Kevin Warren not being there. There's no sports. There's no reason for anybody to be there. Not even the freaking janitor should be there on Friday. I mean, there's no reason for any of those people to be there on Friday. That's my first thing. them staging a football season in late January to March makes you wonder how much goodwill they're going to engender with the other conferences if they're going up against the something called the NCAA men's basketball tournament, which brings in a ton of revenue for all the membership. If they're having football games up against that, and of course their networks, what would it be? ESPN, Fox, ABC, Big Ten Network. They don't cover any NCAA tournaments. I mean, ESPN's got the women's tournament, which is nothing to speak of, obviously. So their networks are probably like, sure, bring it on. Great winter, spring programming, I guess. But that's probably ancillary thought to this whole thing. I just, I this you, I equated this to the Jerry Sandusky thing and the Minnesota Massacre, the basketball thing from 1972, as one of the darkest moments in Big Ten history. And people took me to task that you really can't compare the Sandusky thing to anything because nothing really compares to that. But this is a moment, a watershed moment in time that is going to haunt the Big Ten, in my opinion, forever. And whether it creates a rift down the middle between the haves who produce all the revenue and the have-nots who are just brought along for the ride for scheduling the availability of scheduling, for lack of a better term, and TV homes for an even bigger lack of a better term. They bring nothing to the table. And I mean, I'm looking at you when I'm talking about Rutgers, Maryland, Indiana, Purdue, Illinois, certainly nothing. I mean, Illinois means nothing in Chicago. That's how badly they've killed that brand off, that they can't play they played a basketball game with Ohio State and Illinois at the United Center 2 years ago, and we're lucky to get about 8,000 people there. And it was like on Illinois' ticket plan, and nobody from Illinois went. So if they don't care about Illinois in Chicago, they don't care about Illinois anywhere. So, I don't know what to say other than this could lead down the line when the new TV deal comes up in the next few years. It could be a situation where if anybody's on the ball and could pull the football powerhouses together and just tell everybody to go grip it, because they could take the Big Ten network with them and tell everybody else, see you later. And part of it is you have to think about, why didn't that happen in this case, just in this one small sliver of having the football powers play each other in some kind of a makeshift fall season, maybe a double round robin. It sounds to me like when push came to shove, you had Iowa, you had Nebraska, you had Ohio State, and you probably had Penn State. The first break today was when Franklin came out first thing this morning and said, doesn't look like fall's going to happen. That was when the first shoe dropped, and the people in that little cabal, those four schools in particular, finally got it through their thick heads that they'd been defeated. And what that tells me is they couldn't get Michigan or they couldn't get Wisconsin to go along with them. So, that's my feeling, is that even when they tried to break off, it couldn't be a clean break, because they had Michigan's president, I guess, is a doctor and wanted no part of it. Michigan State's president is an infectious disease doctor, I guess, and wanted no part of it. Wisconsin, I was told, certainly Barry Alvarez and Paul Blart, the coach, would have wanted it, but their administration and their community in Madison is very liberal, and I'm not taking any political sides or anything about it. It would just been a hard thing to push through. He said it's so bad in Madison that the schools there can't use their lights to play Friday night football games. A lot of times people complain about it, and you would think in a football crazy town or state that they wouldn't have that kind of a problem, but they do. So what we view as a football crazy place, there's other factions involved, and in this case, those factions won out. So, I don't know what else. Again, I come to the end of this thing, and I'm just disgusted